Revenge films.
I've never had a girlfriend in my life. One day, I met this girl online. She seemed like a very nice girl. We were just exchanging messages at first, but after a while, we decided to meet up. I was super excited because this was my first time going on a date. We decided to meet at the park, but I instantly regretted my decision. Man, it's hot. I wonder how hot it is right now. I glanced at the thermometer in the park, which read 36 degrees. I wasn't even moving and sweat was pouring out. I should have planned to meet somewhere indoors like a coffee shop. On top of the heat, I was really nervous, which made me sweat even more. I hadn't even met her yet and I was already soaking. That's when I received her message.
I'm here.
I looked around to see if I could find her, and finally, I met eyes with a girl. Wait, is that her? I saw in front of me a girl wearing full black gothic-style clothing on a deadly hot and sunny day. And on top of that, her clothes had long sleeves. It was hot just watching her. No way it can be her. But wait, she's walking this way. I was in doubt, but the gothic-looking girl came up to me and asked,
Are you Jack?
I felt like I was struck by lightning. Yeah, so you must be Jill? She nodded. I could hear the people around me saying, Look at her, it's so hot and she's wearing gothic clothing. Does she think it's Halloween or something? Does she know it's summer? I couldn't agree more. They're right, it's midsummer, you know? I couldn't stand the stairs. Jill, let's go somewhere cooler. I figured we would go to a coffee shop or something. Jill just nodded without saying anything. It was my first date with a girl, and everyone was staring at me. Plus, she won't talk at all. I could feel the sweat dripping off me. The coffee shop was only 10 minutes away, but it felt like forever. I tried to hold a conversation and asked, what do you do on your days off? But she just had an awkward look on her face and wouldn't say anything. Oh my gosh, what is up with this girl? She shouldn't have come if she didn't want to. It was hot, and I was annoyed from being ignored, so I decided to tell her to at least say something. Hey, wait, what? I turned around to see that Jill had collapsed and was sweating really hard. Are you okay, Jill? I assumed that she was having a heat stroke, so I called the ambulance immediately. I took her to the shade where she waited for the ambulance to arrive. It's gotta be these clothes. How many layers are you wearing? The thick layers of clothes were stuck together and really hot from absorbing so much sunlight. I was scared for Jill, who seemed really weak. I've got to cool her down a little. I tried to see if there was any way I could get some layers off.
Don't touch me, you pervert!
She yelled at me with a scary look on her face. Being called a pervert on my first date ever really hurt. She must have really been creeped out by me touching her, because she was holding tightly onto her clothes. After being treated like a pervert, there was no way I could get close to her. So all I could do was stand there and wait. Finally, the ambulance arrived. She had indeed had a heat stroke. The doctors must have thought I was her boyfriend. That was a close call. How could you let her wear such heavy clothing and not keep her hydrated? Hey, I feel the exact same way. While I was waiting for the ambulance, I even bought some drinks to rehydrate her. She was too weak to drink herself, so I tried to help. But she rejected me every time. I tried to do what I could, and I was starting to get annoyed with all the nagging from the doctors. I went to the hospital room to tell her to stay out of my life from now on. Hey, Jill, you know you're crazy to be dressed like that this time of year? And besides, if you hate me so much, why did you come in the first place? Were you trying to mock me? Stay away from me, all right? But Jill said,
I'm sorry.
As she went into tears. I was thinking, you aren't getting any pity from me. When Jill got up from bed and pulled down her neck to show me her collarbone. Whoa, what are you doing? I thought and closed my eyes and turned away. Then Jill said,
I know it might be too late, but will you hear me out?
So I slowly turned towards her, and what I saw shocked me. She had a large burn mark from her collarbone down to her chest.
When I was a child, I went to hug my mom while she was cooking and got burned really badly. I was treated, but it left a scar. people used to stare and say mean things to me. It made me scared to go in public or talk to other people, but I was able to talk only if it was online. I really enjoyed messaging with you and getting to know you and wanted to meet you, but I was just so afraid of showing you my scar. It's disgusting, isn't it?
I finally realized what she meant when she told me not to touch her. It wasn't me, but it was about her insecurity with her scar. Jill has burn marks on several parts of her body. I could understand why a young girl like her would be sensitive about scars on her body. So that's why she was wearing long sleeves and clothes that covered her neck.
I'm sorry I wasn't able to have a good conversation. It's been so long since I've spoken to anyone in person, and I'm sorry for treating you so badly when all you were trying to do was help.
She started crying.
But thank you for everything.
She said as she dropped her head in shame. She was saying goodbye because I told her to stay out of my life. I took a seat on the chair next to her bed and said, "I'm sorry that I misunderstood you. I take it all back. Tell me more about yourself." Jill just nodded. "Why would you choose Gothic-style clothing? There are so many other choices for long sleeves."
All these scars on my body, I never had any interest in fashion. Then one day, I was looking at pictures online and saw these people who were dressed in Gothic-style clothes, and I thought to myself, maybe I could wear something like this.
I see, but honestly, it was kind of embarrassing today. There are different ways you can hide your scars using small items like scarves, and you can dress lighter. Let's find something together that suits you better.
Are you sure?
Of course! Her smile lit up the room. I wish I could have seen it earlier, but nonetheless, I was happy to see her smile. After that, I asked my sister to help me pick some clothes for Jill that were light and fashionable, which could still cover up her scars.
This is nice and cool, and so cute too.
My sister works in apparel and gave me a few tips. Jill was able to find clothes that she liked, that she could wear even during the summer. She seemed happy. We met a couple times after that, and now we're a couple. I introduced her to my sister, who was able to give Jill some more tips.
Dressing up is how girls have fun. I'll help you choose clothes depending on the season.
They got along well, and naturally, Jill became part of the family. She spent so much time alone in the dark. So from now on, I hope to bring some of that joy back into her life.
One day, when my fiancé was gone, his lover suddenly showed up at our apartment room. Of course, I had no clue about his affair, and I was shocked. "You have to break up with him. I'm pregnant with his child." She had a victorious smile on her face. She showed me their messages to try to prove that he loved her more. So, I took a screenshot as proof. She continued to insist that my fiancé loved her more than me. I've been dating Jack for 5 years, and we're both 30 years old. We were living together and had plans to get married. We had already even reserved a wedding hall. His girlfriend, Rose, knew that we were engaged and got pregnant anyways. She was 20 years old. She was 10 years younger than me and looked great. Rose continued to tell me everything that had happened between them without me having to ask. It was like listening to a thorough investigation report. According to Rose, she works part-time at Jack's office and fell in love with him at first sight. She decided to talk to him, and they gradually became closer until they became a couple. I could tell Rose thought she was better than me by the way she talked. "Jack's mine, old lady," she told me. She went on to insult my age and insisting that I was infertile because I was 30. I was just sitting and listening in silence, but honestly, I was pretty hurt inside. After going on like that for a while, she must have been satisfied. "Just break up with him already, alright?" And she laughed as she left the room. I messaged Jack immediately after she left. "Rose suddenly showed up. She's pregnant with your child. Please don't come home for a while." He called back immediately and messaged me with all kinds of excuses, but I ignored them and called our parents instead. A few days later, a crazy meeting was held. My parents, Jack's parents, and Rose's parents were all gathered. Upon everyone gathering, Jack started apologizing and saying that he didn't want to break up with me, and Rose looked pretty surprised. Rose's father was angry.
"You're being insensitive to our daughter!"
he said as Rose yelled, "Why are you apologizing to this old hag?" and was slapped by her father for saying that. Rose figured that she had the advantage of being young, and if she got pregnant, she could marry Jack. So I told her parents, "I'm sure you both understand that I demand consolation for your daughter cheating with my fiancé and the cancellation fees for a wedding." To which Rose argued, "What? Why do I have to pay compensation? It's your decision to cancel the wedding, not mine."
Just shut up, you idiot! I'm very sorry. Our daughter is just a child. She doesn't have a grip on reality yet. Of course she'll take responsibility. I'm so sorry for everything.
Rose continued to argue. Why? But got slapped by her father again and started crying. Why me? Rose continued to cry and say that she was going to have the child and get married to Jack, and that there was no way that Jack wanted to break up with her. Things started getting out of hand, with her parents scolding their selfish daughter. I had no intentions of getting married to Jack anymore, so I proposed to him. "Why don't you just keep the reservation and get married to her instead then?" To which Rose said, "Shut up, bitch. There's no way I'm wearing a wedding dress that you picked out," and was very mad. Jack glanced at Rose and said,
We got married, but Rose's parents hate me. My boss, who encouraged the wedding, had an affair with her as well.
To that, Rose started screaming and yelling. Rose's parents gave Jack a nasty look and calmed their daughter. I could understand where her parents were coming from. Their daughter was cheating with an engaged man who was 10 years older than her. Even though it might have been Rose's plan to get pregnant, they probably still felt deceived. Jack continued to apologize to me and tell me that he had no intention of marrying Rose, but neither I nor my parents would allow myself to get married to such a cheater. They expressed their disapproval, and we decided to call it a day. Jack contacted me many times after that, but I didn't change my mind. I did ask myself if there was any way that I could forgive him for cheating on me, but the answer was no. Rose was still a child and had no idea of what it meant to get married or take responsibility. She thought of it like any other relationships, like a winner-takes-all situation. She didn't understand the rules or the law. We were engaged, but it wasn't like we were married. After all, her parents explained to Rose about the laws of cheating with an engaged man. I ended up receiving consolation from both Rose and Jack. Jack was persuaded by his co-workers to get married to Rose, but they ended up getting divorced within a year. Until they got divorced, I was exchanging messages with Jack. He constantly asked for a second chance. I thought about blocking him, but instead decided to just send him nice messages wishing for their happiness. To my messages, Jack replied,
We got married, but Rose's parents hate me. My boss, who encouraged our marriage, used to have an affair with her as well. Rose is a 3-timer!
He told me all kinds of things. Jack wasn't into the idea of getting married to Rose in the first place, and as he expected, things weren't going so well. I continued to say nice things to Jack, and he would keep replying.
Rose won't clean up after herself. I can't stand it. Her food is all pre-made. I miss your cooking. She's so hysterical. It's hard.
And all other kinds of complaints like that. Honestly, I was pissed that he cheated on me when we were engaged, and I was glad that they were having a hard time. But I also knew that if I continued to be nice to Jack, he would continue to want me back. Even after that crazy gathering, I remembered that he kept ignoring her and wanted to get married to me. So I kept acting like a saint, and then Rose had the child. I figured that Jack would stop messaging me after he had a child, but he continued to do so.
I wanted to get married with you. I regret cheating on you. I want a second chance with you.
I ignore all of these kind of messages though. They finally got divorced, and Jack reached out to me.
I got divorced with Rose. We can finally get back together. When can we meet? I want to see you now.
So I blocked his messages and told him through a mutual friend that I was getting married. I was getting married to one of his friends, but it wasn't like I dated him to get back at Jack. He convinced me for 6 months to date him and asked me to marry him after. After being cheated on after 5 years of dating, I realized that time had nothing to do with marriage. What matters most is that you love each other. I heard that Jack was pretty disappointed about the news.
Wait, are you serious? I thought we were getting back together. On top of that, my friend?
I was told that he crumbled to the ground and started crying. I can't believe he actually thought that he would get back with me after divorcing Rose. But I didn't break any rules, did I? It's not like we were engaged anymore, and I didn't break any laws or do anything mean. I didn't say anything bad about Rose after they got married. And I never told them to break up either. All I did was listen to Jack's complaints and reply like a saint. So, I'm sorry for Jack, but it's not my problem. I heard that after the meeting, my mother was crying in despair for me. So, I feel I owe this happiness to my parents as well.
My name is Brad. I work as a security guard. But there's something that's bothering me recently. There are these kids that hang out in the hallways of the apartment complex that I live in. It seems that a mother brings her children over when she visits her friend who lives here, and just leaves the kids in the hallways while they talk inside. The kids scream and yell in the hallways and bang on the doors with their bats. I often work night shifts and come home early in the morning, and so I usually sleep during the day. But because of these kids, I can't get much sleep recently, and it's starting to affect my work. The other day, I went outside and scolded them. You shouldn't be running around in the hallway, and stop banging on people's doors. But they looked up at me and said, "Shut up, you punk! Yeah, you punk!" and wouldn't listen at all. So when I ran into their mother, I stopped her for a conversation. Your kids are running around in the hallways, and I can't get any sleep. Also, you need to tell your kids to stop banging on people's doors.
What are you talking about? You think these halls belong to you?
That's not what I'm trying to say.
Then mind your own business. These halls belong to everyone. It's not a problem if my kids want to run around in them.
The mother was just as ignorant as her kids. Not only did the kids not stop, but they kept getting worse, because their mother wouldn't say anything to them about it. There's no way I'm going to be able to get any sleep like this. I tried talking to the apartment manager about this, but he said he couldn't do anything about it because they weren't residents. He did try to talk to the mother's friend, but not much changed because the kids weren't hers. I continued trying to tell the kids myself. But one day I was getting ready for work and noticed that my door wouldn't open. Hey, what's happening? My door won't open. As I was struggling with the door, I could hear the kids laughing on the other side. He's trying to unlock the doors. There's no way he can open his door. I just put glue in his keyhole. What? Hey, open this door! No way, old man. Now that we've locked all the adults in, let's go play tag. Yeah. Hey, stop playing around. Open this door now! I kept trying, but the door wouldn't budge. Damn, I'm gonna be late for work. I knew that even if I called a locksmith, it would take time to open the door. So I stepped out to my porch. I'm only on the second floor. Maybe I can make it down from here and get to work. As I stood there looking down, I heard a moan from the porch. You've been warned about your children on multiple occasions, right?
Yeah, but I didn't think they would do something like this.
Children are unpredictable. And besides, if you've been warned by other residents, that won't hold up. You'll probably be charged by the residents and apartment manager for the damage caused, but you better be sure to take care of that.
Oh my.
She must have finally realized that her kids went overboard. The following day, she came back with her husband and went door to door, apologizing and paying for their troubles. Of course, they came to me as well. I'm so sorry for all the trouble that my wife and children have caused you. I thought the father might be crazy like the wife and children, but I was gladly surprised to find out that he was a normal and understanding person. I heard that the mother got in trouble from both sides of the family and her husband as well.
I'm really sorry.
She apologized in tears. After the incident, the woman who invited the mother over got nasty looks from the neighbors too. So she went around as well, door to door, and apologized before leaving the complex. The pregnant lady was especially a life or death situation, and it's rumored that she got a hefty payment as compensation. The mother ended up being charged for all the new locks and broken doors, and ended up paying a large sum in damages. Until then, she was a stay-at-home mom. But the consolation money was so much that she now works double shifts as a cleaner and grocery store staff to make it back. I heard her husband is fed up with her, and their divorce is just a matter of time. The kids were scolded by their father too and came back crying. We're sorry. It'll never happen again. I finally got my apology. Without the annoying kids running in the hallways anymore, I can finally get some quality sleep. A few days later, the pregnant lady came over with her newborn baby and her husband to thank me.
Thank you so much for the other day. Thanks to you, I was able to give birth to this wonderful girl without any problems.
I heard that you saved my wife. I was away on a business trip that day, but thank you so much for helping. It's nothing really. I'm glad that everything's okay. I was trying to get to work that day, but the door wouldn't open. I was seeing if there was any way to climb down from the porch. Looking back, I could have fallen and gotten seriously hurt, but I'm glad I thought of it, because that's what led me to noticing your wife. I accepted their gift. Those kids really caused me a lot of trouble. But if it weren't for that, I would have left on time and would have never noticed the lady next door. Anyways, it seems that the kids got it really bad from their father, and you know what they say? All's well that ends well.
My name is Jill. I'm getting married today to Jack, a big-time banker. My father has already passed away, so my mom is here today at the wedding. Jack's parents are very classy, so I still get nervous every time I talk to them. Jill, you're almost up. All right, I'll be there. It's time. I'm so nervous. We got married in front of so many people, and we were celebrated by all. The wedding went as planned, and then we had the reception party. Next up, we have a video from Jill's coworkers. Get ready, everyone! The host gave the signal, and the room went dark. Did something go wrong? Everyone was wondering what was going on, and finally the sound came on. What? Is this my voice? I could hear the commotion in the room. The video that they were supposed to play as a surprise greeting didn't play. Instead, what everyone heard was me moaning in bed. And it wasn't with Jack either. In the video, you could hear me calling my ex-boyfriend's name. The host quickly turned off the screen and apologized. We're very sorry. It seems like we're having some technical problems. She was too late. Anyone could tell that it was my voice. And you could tell that we were having sex from the sounds. My friends, my boss at work, my coworkers, and all my relatives were there. And the situation was out of control. So we left the room and went to the waiting room. I could tell that it was my ex-boyfriend. But it had been many years since we had broken up. And I haven't even seen him since. What could have happened? Just in case you were wondering, Jack and I met and got married traditionally. And it's not like I stole him from someone, so I can't imagine anyone having a grudge on me. I don't hear from my ex anymore, but I've heard from a mutual friend that he's happily married to a wonderful lady. So then, how did that tape pop out of nowhere? I was feeling down when Jack's parents came into the waiting room, pissed off. Jill, what was that?
Explain yourself!
Honestly, I have no clue. Someone's trying to set me up. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I think you're cheating on Jack. I swear to God, I'm not cheating on your son. I love Jack. That being said, the video was there as proof, and I felt cornered. If I was in their shoes, I would be questioning me too. How can I regain their trust?
I believe you, Jill. Even after what happened, I still love you.
Jack,
We're still getting married. How can I trust you with this girl who might be cheating on you?
he's right. We won't allow this. After all this fuss, we didn't break up, but the party was canceled, and our marriage was put off. Jack's parents decided to hire a detective to find out if I was really cheating on him or not.
I'm sorry about all this, Jill.
I'm the one who should be sorry. I ruined the marriage and embarrassed your parents. It is from a long time ago, but I'm sorry nevertheless. But please believe me when I say that I haven't cheated on you. And I have no idea where that came from. Yeah, I want to prove my innocence as well. It doesn't feel good, having my past dug up. But it's necessary for our marriage to happen. And I have nothing to hide. I was curious to know who planted this video as well. A few months passed, and we found out who it was.
Jill, we got the guy. Get your mother and come over here, please.
Oh, really? I'm so glad I can finally prove I'm innocent. So I brought my mom and headed over to Jack's parents' house.
In short, it was Jill's mother who's guilty.
What?
We researched thoroughly and were positive.
I looked over to my mother, but she was just staring at the floor and wouldn't say anything. According to the detective, when they searched my mom's house, they found that all the rooms were bugged. Every couch and household item, backpacks, even my high school uniform was bugged.
Your father has passed away, so we came to the conclusion that the only person who could do this was your mother.
The only person capable of bugging all these things would be someone who lived there. What? Why would you do this to me, Mom? And why would you hide it?
Calm down, Jill.
At first, I bugged you because I was worried about you. But after you said you were getting married, I started feeling so lonely. I wanted you guys to break up. So I put some old recordings onto a CD and handed it to the reception staff. You did all of that because you felt lonely? Do you understand what you've done? You're ruining my life.
Hold on a second, Jill.
Jack turned to my mother and told her,
I'm sorry to tell you this, but your daughter and I are getting married, so you're gonna have to get over it.
My mother just rolled over and started crying. After that, I cut ties with my own mother. And even though we couldn't have another shot at a reception party, Jack and I still got married. We thought things were back to normal, but we were wrong.
Your mom came to my work today.
What? My mom came to your work? Why would she?
I'm not sure, but my coworker who was at the party remembered your mother's face, and he told me that he saw her.
Oh my. My mother was stalking Jack.
I'm leaving from the back from now on, but if this continues...
Yeah, maybe we should talk to the police.
You think they'll do anything about it?
Yeah, you're right. Maybe they'll just brush it off. I'm sorry for causing you so much trouble.
I'm fine, but it must be hard for you. She is your mother after all.
Yeah. I thought she was just a normal mom, but her crazy actions were making me think otherwise. we decided it would be best to buy some security equipment for our home. I was just praying that nothing more would happen, but my prayers weren't heard. My mother showed up at Jack's work and started yelling about how Jack was cheating on me. Of course, these were false allegations, and the cops were called immediately. Jack had no choice but to tell them about what had happened at the reception party and how she had been stalking him since. To that, my mother responded, "I wish this guy was dead. I'm going to kill him for trying to steal Jill from me." Apparently, she was making a big scene. The police and security caught her in time to find a knife that she had on her. She was stalking Jack to try to kill him, so she was arrested for attempting murder. Bugging, stalking, attempted murder. I couldn't forgive my mother anymore. I never want to see you ever again. And I don't consider you my mother anymore. We're over. Stay away from us for the rest of your life, I told her. My mother couldn't accept the fact that I disowned her. You belong to me, Jill. She went on like that for a while. My mother ended up being imprisoned for a long time after we pressed all past charges on her to stay away from her for good. My husband had his company move him to another subsidiary in another state so we could move far away. I don't plan to ever see my mother again. One day, I was driving my kid to preschool, safely under the speed limit, when out of nowhere, a crazy driver backed onto the street from a parking lot to my left. I honked my horn as I slammed the brakes and barely avoided crashing after I maneuvered into the opposite lane. I came to a halt, but the crazy driver didn't stop backing up and crashed with a bang into my left rear end. I called the police as I took my child to school and called in late to work. A mother came out of the car with an infant in her hands. I thought to myself, this mother must be exhausted from taking care of her baby. I'll try to go easy on her. But what came out of this crazy mother's mouth shocked me. I didn't have a clear view because I was backing up. You're the one that should have stopped. You had a better view than me. You need to pay for my repairs and medical treatment for me and my child. Even after the police arrived, she said to them, "My baby's shivering, and this lady is scaring us. Talk to her outside and let us go inside somewhere." Even though there were eyewitnesses that could testify that I had no fault in the accident, thanks to this lady, I was questioned in the freezing cold. By the way, the crazy mother had the baby on a blanket in the passenger seat of her car, which was pretty damaged. But it had airbags on the passenger side as well. For 4 months after that crazy mother wouldn't accept any story but her own, and things were being delayed. The car had many dents and was rusty in places to begin with, and she even tried to blame those on the accident. I had no choice but to use my legal expense coverage to have a lawyer talk to the crazy woman's husband.
If you keep trying to delay this, we'll take you to traffic court.
To which the husband responded,
She won't listen to me.
and was in tears. I was so mad at that woman. I got a leave at work and began regular visits to the hospital with my daughter from the very next day. We had them treat anything and everything, and we had our car fully restored and washed till it looked brand new. The husband, who was the account holder, ended up paying for all of it. The insurance company called to tell me that it was all settled. However, a few days later, late at night, my husband stopped a suspicious woman that he spotted trying to run away from our property.
Call the police.
My husband said. And when I saw her face, I noticed it was the crazy lady. She looked us up to find out where we lived, just so she could come over and key my car. My husband blocked the exit of the parking space, and she got caught. The car was scratched up. Her excuse was, "It's unfair that the accident is 100% my fault. I have a baby. You should feel sorry for me." By the way, she left that sorry baby at home to come get her revenge. It was the first time that my husband filed a report to the police. He went with the police and the crazy lady to the police station. A big peanut gallery in our quiet neighborhood had formed by then. The lady went crazy at the station, too. My husband played it cool, but the lady just wouldn't stop.
You should stay out of this. I'll deal with the lawyers.
He told me when we got home. So I left the insurance companies to him, and all contacts were forwarded to his cell phone only. And for now, all I know is that everything is finished, and that's all I care to know. Honestly, I'm not a strong person myself, and I felt quite unstable since the keying incident. I think my husband has left everything to the lawyers, and he denied their request for an apology through the insurance company. I thank my insurance company for dealing with everything, even after such a long time since the accident. I left everything up to the lawyers of the insurance company and my husband. But I did tell them that I don't plan on forgiving them for anything. My car was fully fixed, and I made sure we got a hefty amount of money for it. Through the husband, of course. Looking back, right after the accident, I thought that maybe the crazy woman was somehow being morally harassed by her husband through economic means. And that's why she was driving her baby in a worn-down car without an infant safety seat. And maybe that's why she became so crazy. I tried to sympathize because I know how hard it is to raise a child.
My name is Jill. I work as a normal office worker and recently bought an apartment building as a side business. My parents were friends with a landlord who sold it to me for a very low price. I'm getting pretty old, and I have enough saved up to last me, and your parents were so nice to me. So I thought maybe you would be interested. I was able to leave most of the management to the realtor, and it was such a low price, I couldn't say no to such a generous offer. The rooms were big enough to comfortably fit a family of 3, and the rooms were quickly filled with many families. I'm really grateful for the last landlord.
Good for you, sis.
This is my brother. He helps me to manage the apartment, while he works a full-time office job and lives in one of the rooms of the apartment.
By the way, there's something weird going on at the apartment recently. Some of the door handles seem scratched, and sometimes there are broken pieces of metal in the keyholes. It looks like someone was trying to break in.
Oh, that's scary. We can't just let this slide. The doors and locks are pretty old anyways, so why don't we just exchange all of them?
Yeah, maybe it's best to do that before anything happens.
But I wonder who it is.
I may be wrong, but there is this one lady who seems a little suspicious. The other day, the couple who moved into room 105 came to say hi, but I could tell that the wife was looking around my room. Maybe we should watch out for her.
We talked about it for a while, but we couldn't be sure of anything, and nothing had happened yet. So we decided to let it go for now. But a few days later, something happened. Hello, Jill. The lady from room 105 was trying to break into your brother's room. What? She had a seizure and the police told me that she was carried to the hospital. I had no idea what was going on but ran over to the apartment. I went into my brother's room. Wah! I screamed out loud. There was a life-size zombie doll placed at the entrance of my brother's room. It was even covered in fake blood and everything.
Yeah, I thought that if someone broke into this room, they would see this and run away.
Yeah, this is pretty darn scary, especially at night. So, the lady got scared and had a seizure. According to the police, it wasn't the lady's first offense. She had a habit of stealing and moved here after trying to break into a house near where she lived before. She had pretty much ran away and was searching for another house to break into over here.
It seems like she was after my collectible figures.
Are these even worth anything?
Yeah, some of them. That's why I got the zombie doll.
Well, at least it worked.
Anyways, about room 105. It's not just the wife. We should watch out for the whole family.
What do you mean?
I heard the husband is an incessant complainer, and their middle school kid is always getting into trouble.
Sounds like we should stay away from them. I thought about filing a report with the police, but maybe it'll piss the family off. So I didn't file a complaint, and instead, they got a warning from the police and were forced to leave the premises. But this wasn't the end of things. Ring. Hello?
This is Mr. Yankee's lawyer.
The Yankees were the family from room 105.
After what happened the other day, Mrs. Yankee was diagnosed with PTSD. We will be sending you an invoice for the compensation. Please deposit the correct amount into Mr. Yankee's account by the end of next week. The fee is a total of $5,000. If we can't confirm payment, we will have to report this to the police.
I see. A few minutes later. So, what do you think I should do?
Wow, those guys must be out of their minds.
I mean, even if she does have PTSD, it's her fault in the first place.
Well, this is getting interesting. We might as well go all in.
My brother was invested. He called back the number and we decided to meet them to fight this.
If we're doing this, we're all in. I'm gonna destroy them. Sounds like this is gonna be exciting.
And what are you doing here?
Sounded like fun.
This is one of our friends who likes to get involved in anything that seems exciting. 10 minutes later, the couple showed up with their supposed lawyer.
So, you are the landlord, and this is your brother. And who might you be? This is my brother-in-law. He's part of the decision-making, so he'll be joining us today as well. Alright then. So anyways, as I told you on the phone, you're going to have to pay Mrs. Yankee alimony. I'm sure you want to avoid this going to court, right? The smart thing to do is just pay and settle this. Okay, well there are a few things we would like to confirm. You mentioned that she was diagnosed with PTSD, so first, can you show us the paperwork?
The lawyer looked a bit confused.
What do you mean? Are you trying to say that we're lying? If you're gonna make this hard, we'll up the payment. The wife is the victim, so stop asking questions and pay up already. No, it's just a check. I mean, it's normal procedure to show the paperwork if you claim to have PTSD, right? Oh, by the way, here's my business card. The lawyer?
That's right. My brother has his degree in law and works for a law firm.
So, you claim to be a lawyer. May I ask which bar association you are part of? As well as your lawyer identification number? And a business card, please? Well, I don't have one on me at the moment. Wait, you are here as a lawyer, right? How is it that you are here without anything to prove who you are? And you called my sister from a cell phone, but it's quite unprofessional of you to not even call from your office. Well... You claim to be a lawyer, so you must know that it's a heavy crime to pretend to be a lawyer, right? If that is the case, you and all your accomplices will be tried in court for criminal offenses and be imprisoned for sure.
All three of them looked shocked. So my brother kept going.
Considering the amount you requested, I would say that blackmail would apply as well. There's no doubt that all of you will go to jail if I report this to the police. Actually, I had nothing to do with this. This person forced me to do it.
What do you mean, Dad? You were the one who said that you wanted to be the lawyer. From the conversation, I was able to make out that the lawyer was Mrs. Yankee's father. He started panicking and looked over to her friend.
And who are you? You're just sitting over there smiling. You've got nothing to do with this. This conversation is going nowhere. Oh, me? I'm a cop. I came along today to listen.
Our friend is a police officer. Today was his day off, but he brought his badge along. The Yankees were facing off with a lawyer and a cop, but he just froze in place.
Are you kidding me? I'm out of here! Oh, you know that running away just makes your crime worse. You're gonna get caught anyways, so you might as well just surrender. It'll help reduce your sentence a little bit at least. No!
My friend reported it to the police for us, and the police car arrived soon after to take them away. All three were sentenced to prison. The wife had priors, so she ended up being sentenced to 10 years in prison. The middle school child was arrested for something else around that time and is now in a juvenile detention facility. We changed all the locks in our apartment building after that, and it's been peaceful ever since.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.